Well, the biggest UFC card of the year came and went. So now, after being spoiled with Lemos versus John DeRobo, we've got to settle on UFC 304. And I'm going to go ahead and give my predictions for this card. So let's just go ahead and do a little bit of a speed run when it comes to the early prelims. You know, I'm not gonna act like I know everybody on this card at the bottom. I'm an American, so maybe my opinion shouldn't hold weight. But this card's also airing on American time, so I'm part of the demographic they're targeting, baby. Sorry, England. Anyways, first one, Shauna Bannon versus Elise Ardeleon. Actually, they're both coming off losses. Let's just look at the odds real quick. Shauna Bannon, yeah, I don't really remember her, but she looked a little familiar, and I don't think I remember her looking too good in her last fight. So she's an underdog in this one. Just first impression, yeah, I'm gonna go with Ardeleon. Not basing it off too much, other than I feel like I remember Bannon looking like pretty bad in her last fight. Next one, Mick Parkin versus Lucas Brzezinski. 9-0 versus 9-4-1. That's kind of crazy as a record. Let me look at this guy really quickly on Tapology. Where was this guy? Brzezinski, 9-4-1, coming off a 3-1 UFC record. That's kind of crazy. I'm surprised he lost 3 in a row. No contest in the Contender Series, and then 3 losses in a row, and then he finally won against Johnny Walker's brother. I'm assuming he was supposed to be a layup for Walker. That's crazy. Anyways, Parkin has an insane dad bod going on, but I'm gonna go ahead and give him the win on this one, unless it's also in England. He's English. Yeah, I'm going with Parkin on this one. It seems like they're definitely trying to give a layup. Let the English start strong here. Next fight, Sam Patterson versus Kiefer Crosby. I know the name Kiefer Crosby. I know I've seen this guy. Sam Patterson, not so much. Again, let's refer to Tapology. What's everybody saying in Tapology, actually? Everybody is picking Patterson. That's not even an exaggeration. Fucking everybody. 11-2 versus 10-4. Kiefer Crosby coming off of 1 loss. That's his whole record in the UFC. He just has 1 loss by rear naked choke against a guy I'm not too familiar with. Sam Patterson. Strickland Duplessis, he won. Won on Contender Series. Lost a fight. 2-1 versus 0-1 in the UFC. You know, as professionals, you pretty much have 3 records. Or amateur record, professional record, and then UFC record. So I'm basing it off of the UFC records of these guys. I'm going with Sam Patterson, which is the majority of people's picks. Early prelims. I am baffled by the fact that they moved this to the early prelims. I don't know what happened backstage. I'm assuming Manel Kopp said some more racist shit, or some bigotry that the UFC isn't cool with. He probably said the F word again. You know, not the short F word. 19-6, 12-0. I'm assuming Muhammad's a favorite if I had to look at the odds. Yep, he is. Slight favorite. And I'm kind of leaning towards that, you know. Manel's really fucking good. Rising champion. I was really all about this guy coming to the UFC. But Muhammad Mokaev is just really fucking good talent coming up right now. I think he's just going to control Manel for 3 rounds. Yeah, I'm going Muhammad Mokaev on this one. Stays undefeated. Gets closer to that title shot. Wow, that's insane. Okay, this Mokaev versus Cape, 2 top 10 guys, and Obon Elliott versus Preston Parsons is above them. 10-2 versus 11-4. Looking over at Tapology. Yeah, this guy's pretty good. Obon Elliott coming off a bunch of wins in Cage Warriors. Majority decision. And then, Val Woodburn, another good win right there. Preston Parsons, on the other hand, 11-4, coming off of a UFC record of 2-2. Matthew Smellsberger, Evan Elder, Daniel Rodriguez, not a name that's like too bad to lose to. Trevin Giles. Yeah, I'm assuming there's a lot of hype on O'Bon Elliott right now. What are the odds looking like? You know, despite the experience for Preston, I'm actually going to go with O'Bon Elliott on this one. And that's not even like going off of too much other than he's from the UK, and I always feel like the way they match these guys up for the UK is like just a bunch of layups, if I'm being honest. I don't think they try to give them the toughest fights. They really want to grow the market out there. Even though, again, this card isn't happening in English time, it's happening in US time. Next one, first up on the prelims, Bukakis versus Prochnio. Honestly, both of these guys, I don't think they are doing too hot in the UFC. Either of them. I don't think Modestus has won in the UFC. He came back after being cut. Let's see. Oh no, he won. Alright. Tyson Pedro and Zach Poga. I feel like I don't remember those fights at all. Yeah, had a pretty bad skid the initial time that he fought in the UFC. Got cut, went to Cage Warriors, and now he's back. 2-1 on his new streak. Vitor Petrino knocked him out with a check hook in his last fight. Marcin Prochnio is another guy that hits pretty fucking hard. Yeah, I'm gonna go with, let's see, Devin Clark, William Knight. William Knight by decision? Yeah, I'm going Bukakis. Going Bukakis on this one. What are the odds? Slight favorite, makes sense. Jake Hadley versus I can't say that fucking name. The Irishman. I like Jake Hadley. He looks like a gremlin in this photo. Jesus Christ. He looks like Gollum. Anyways, 10-3 versus 9-1. Jake Hadley, I don't know why this guy keeps losing. I had so much hype for him coming into the UFC. I did enjoy watching him prior to getting into the UFC. Malcolm Gordon, Cody Durden, Charles Johnson he lost to. Cody Durden's really good, despite the last loss he took. And despite being kind of annoying personality-wise. Locker and Cage Warriors champion. Yeah, a bunch of wins in Cage Warriors. Lost for the first time against Taylor Lapilus. Won against Angel Pacheco. Englishman versus Irishman, and usually they're trying to give up layups to the English. But I feel like Loughran's got to be the favorite. No, he's not. He's actually a pretty sizable underdog. Minus 218 for Hadley. Yeah, I'm going to go with Hadley. I'm just going to trust the odds on that one. Molly McCann versus Bruno Brazil. The odds are looking like a giant favorite for Molly McCann, so I'm just going to assume this is a layup. Yeah, 14-6 versus 9-4. I have to know her record. The UFC keeps women with like way worse records than the men. And she is 1-2 in the UFC fighting against one of the biggest hype jobs in the UFC, Molly McCann. Yeah, this is a layup. Molly McCann, put your money on that. Actually, don't. It's only minus 290. You have to risk way more just to get a little bit. Fuck that. Nathaniel Wood versus Daniel Pineda. I don't even need to really look at too much for this one. I already know Nathaniel Wood's got to be a favorite. Minus 485. Yeah. That's an easy one for Nathaniel Wood, in my opinion. Daniel Pineda, pretty fun fights to watch, you know. But I'm still going Nathaniel Wood. Nathaniel Wood, I've had so much hype for. He hasn't been looking crazy in the UFC, but still, really fucking talented guy. If he puts stuff together, then I think he could actually go on a good run. Next up, going into the main card, and again, I think this is a pretty easy pick. Arnold Allen versus Giga Chikadze. 15-3 versus 19-3. Way more experience at the higher level for Arnold Allen. Giga, I've been watching him since before the UFC. He was fighting on like Gladiator Challenge, fucking beating the shit out of bums. coming off Glory. 215, plus 215 on Giga. Arnold Allen, minus 265. I would trust the odds on this one. I'm going Arnold Allen. Next up, this is a good fight. Wow. I didn't even know about this one. Okay, I'm not even mad about bumping Manel Cape down now. Christian Leroy Duncan versus Gregory Rodriguez. Yeah, this is actually pretty awesome matchmaking. 10-1. Big record in Cage Warriors. Only losses to Armin Petrosyan, which is a fighter I really like to watch. Armin's Contender Series fight was so fucking fun. If you haven't seen that, go back and watch that. If you have Fight Pass or Torrent, I don't know where the fuck you find it. Anyways, yeah, 3-1 so far for Christian Leroy Duncan in the UFC. Gregory Rodriguez, I think he's coming off a win. 2 wins in a row. Yeah, I feel like the more memorable, the knockout loss he had to Bruno Ferrero is like actually so memorable that I thought that was his last fight. Finished Brad Tavares, finished Dennis Tulin. I can't fucking really say that one. Anyways, I really love RoboCop, but I'm gonna go with Christian Leroy Duncan on this one. No money line on this one. For some reason on the UFC's page at least. What's everybody saying on Typology? Let's see that real quick. I'm not going to go off of what they say though. Yeah, they're also leaning towards Duncan. Alright, next up. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this one. King Green, Paddy Pimblett. If you saw my other breakdown video on this fight specifically, I said this is going to be a fraud check for Paddy Pimblett. I think he's good. I don't hate the guy or anything, but yeah, I don't have a lot of faith in him in this fight. I think Paddy can't take King Green now down, and he's going to get pieced up on the feet. Next up, getting into the title fights, Tom Aspinall versus Curtis Blaydes. Curtis Blaydes, really unique challenge against Tom Aspinall, being able to wrestle, but Tom Aspinall grew up on the mats. His dad's a 3rd-degree black belt in jiu-jitsu, and yeah, he's been doing jiu-jitsu since he was a little kid. I think he finished Alexander Volkov with a Kimura in like the first round, like the first half of the fight. 3 minutes 45 seconds to get the straight arm lock. It wasn't a Kimura against Volkov. Yeah, that was a really quick one. Dude's on a bit of a generational run right now as a heavyweight. Biggest talent we've seen at heavyweight in a very long time. Minus 380 favorite versus Curtis Blaydes. I think that's kind of egregious. English versus US. Man, Tom Aspinall's really fucking good, but I think Curtis Blaydes is a way closer fight than plus 300. I would put my money on Curtis Blaydes. Just because it's heavyweight and you don't know if like one shot's gonna make you a shit ton of money here, it's worth it. It's completely worth it in this fight. Fucking, I'm sure more than half of you aren't even paying for the pay-per-view. So how about you put like $30-40 on Curtis Blaydes and just let it ride. I think it's way closer than the odds say, but I'm probably still gonna lean towards Tom Aspinall. Belal Muhammad versus Leon Edwards, main event, welterweight title, 22-3 versus 23-3, really close when it comes to experience, at least record-wise, but Leon Edwards has fought way more higher level talent, even in his last 3 fights alone, obviously. 2 fights against Kamaru Usman, 1 back-to-back, and then the Colby Covington fight. Odds are looking like plus 180 for Muhammad. If you look back at their first fight, Leon Edwards was kind of dog-walking him. Yeah, I'm gonna lean towards Leon. I don't think it's gonna be that hard of a fight for him. I don't know if I could see a finish. I would really hope so. I feel like it's going to be a decision though. I wonder what everybody's thinking on Typology real quick. Yeah, majority of people saying Edwards by decision. I'm not too surprised by that. Wizarding World of UFC 304. But yeah, that's it for the breakdown. Go ahead, comment, like, subscribe. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know how much of an idiot I am in the comments or how much you agree with me. Either way, I like to comment back and see what you guys have to say. And I will happily eat my words if I'm wrong with any of this shit. I think for the most part, I'll be on the money with it. And yeah, see you next time.